All right, so once you've logged into TradingView, this is what you should be seeing. You have a couple of indices and Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, crude oil, or anything that you have as an indicator right at the top. This page is mostly about ideas. So if you have a couple of ideas to share or you want to read what others are sharing, you can always check out this page or go into the ideas as per the asset classes or trend analysis that they have. But more importantly for us, we want to get into the interactive session. So I'm going to get into BTC USD for cryptocurrency, and I'm going to choose Bitfinex, which is where we do most of our trading on. And this is what you will come on. As you can see, we have a follow button here if you want to follow Bitcoin US dollars. But what I'm looking at is this interactive charts. So we're going to go into that area and have a look at the TradingView charting platform. Okay, so when you come into TradingView and you're in the charting platform, this is what you should see. And we're looking at BTC or Bitcoin dollar pair. Now, typically they'd have a volume, so I'm just going to delete that for the time being right now. Now, in TradingView, you have a couple of features, and one of the most important features is the indicators that you can add on. But before we go into that, we're going to look at the various features. So you can see a top bar, a sidebar here, and on the left side as well, and a couple of things at the bottom. Now, first and foremost in this area is the time frame. So you can have a 1 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, or any time frame that you wish, and you can add it here or select it here, right? So I'm just going to add a star, which will bring it up here, so I can look at those time frames as well here. And let me just push this to the side here. All right. Okay. So now let's say if I wanted to look at the 1 week time frame, I can just press on this, and 1 month time frame, amazing, and 4 hour time frame as well. Now you can choose whether you want candles or you want bars. I prefer to use candles. Sometimes bars are quite easy and easier to work with. Point and figure is if you are premium or Pro Plus membership with TradingView, you get to use that as well. But I think for the time being, we are perfectly all right with these candles. Now, charting 101, right? Red candle means it's going down, green is going up a bit, and that's how this is. So the tip of these candles are what we call wicks, WICKS. Now a wick can be the open and the close, and then in between as well, what was the highest and the lowest as well. So that's basically what it is. Now, I'm going to do something which makes this look a bit more better and easier on the eyes, and that is change the color as well. So you can go to click on the icon, the chart properties icon, which is basically a gearbox. Click on that and click on dark, and it says yes. So wow, that looks much more better. Of course, you can change it to black or anything that you like, and this area will change as well. But I'm just going to apply the default and be happy with that. Okay. Now on the top, we've talked about the time intervals. We've talked about the kind of candles or bars or indicators that you have. Changing the screen, you can compare with another cryptocurrency, or you can add the indicators as well or set alerts. Now we're going to add a couple of indicators, but before that, let me just remove this here. Hide this buy and sell panel. Now on the left side we have crosshair. So I'm more familiar with this. The reason is because I can see the price on the right side and see the time at the bottom. So this helps me keep things in perspective. Now a couple of icons here, don't worry about them. They're very simple. The two icons that you need to just star or favorite are the trend line and the horizontal line, or Alt H as a shortcut that they have. In this one, there are 3 which I would use, or at least 2 of them, which is a fib retracement, trend-based fibs extensions, and fib time zones as well. And I'll explain that in a bit. If you want to draw a rectangle, you can do that. If you want to add some notes or a balloon or market, you can do that here. This is a bit more advanced, where you have different waves and patterns that you need to follow. I don't really use that. In here, we have the long position. So for example, I wanted to take a long position. So let's say from here, I select it and I can adjust the heights to this position, and let's say my stop is here. So basically this gives me an indication from this point if I were to go up to this level, I would be increasing by 30% and X amount and all that. So this is quite good to have. If you right click, you can delete any of these indicators or any of these drawings as well. This is a measuring tool, which I find quite useful as well. So for example, I wanted to know how much it dropped from here to here. So I would click the measuring tool round about here, give it from there all the way to here. And that drop is basically a 30% drop. So that allows me to measure things as well. The rest of the stuff is if I want to link charts, I'll show you what that is, and staying in drawing mode and removing all drawings. So I can remove this. All right, so let's delete that for the time being. Now, at the top, we talked about the intervals, the indicators that we're going to be doing in a bit of a while. But there is another interesting feature, which is select layout. Now, if you're on a free version, you will only get one panel, one chart that you can use. But if you're on a pro version, you can select two charts, and you can also link them together. So I can link this symbol to all charts, link the interval to all charts as well. So the same time frame is shown. Sync the crosshairs across all charts and track time as well on all charts. Now let's see what happens. So let's say I select the 1 hour on this one. So as you can see, the blue outline, this has changed, but this didn't, right? Now if I wanted to link the interval, this is what I would do. So now both these charts are on the same interval and they both change to the daily. And if I wanted to have, let's say, LTCUSD, which is Litecoin, I select that, both these charts will get updated automatically at the same time frame, and they almost look identical. I really don't see much point in linking the intervals unless there are two different types of indicators that you would like to look at. But let's say you're using one type of indicator, this is it. Now, if you're on the free version, this should be more than enough, right? So we're going to be sticking with this for the time being. Now, indicators, there are two sets of indicators. There are by invitation indicators, and there are a whole lot of other indicators which are free as well. So for example, these are by invitation. I've paid for them, or I've been invited by the trader or the script writer who produced these indicators. Now, unless you have access to this, you will not get this. Most of the time you will see something in the public area, which is more than sufficient. So we're going to take some of the basic indicators, and I'm going to add two special indicators. One is the moving average and the exponential moving average. So let's do that. Click on indicators above. You can either type it in here. So let's do moving averages. And as you can see, I've starred them here. So I'm going to click exponential first, and then I'm going to click moving average second. Now, basic what this is sensitivity. Now here, as at the top left hand corner, you can see there is an eye icon. So if I hide this, or I can show and hide the indicator, you can see that it appears there, right? I can hide both indicators if I want. There you go, right? So both indicators are hidden. Now I'm going to keep both of them online right now, and I'm going to modify this. So this 21 is going to be changed to 8. So let's just click here, select 8. And if you want to change the color, you can do that here. I like to have it as an orange. So let's do it yellow for the time being, right? And I will do the other one as orange. So that's 21, and I will select a nice orange color. Let's do this one. All right. Now, in addition to this, there are a couple of other indicators that you can include, and I would suggest using the stochastic, all right? And volume weighted average price, that's VWAP, and I'm adding both of them there as well. It's not supported on this thing, so we'll move to a smaller time frame. Okay, perfect. Now a bit of 101. If you're not going to go for anything else, I would suggest you go for at least these basic indicators, as they give you an indication of where the price is moving and when you can get in and get out. Those are your entry points and exit points. Now, as we mentioned, the yellow is the 8-day moving average, and the 21 or orange is the 21 moving average is the orange color. So, for example, we came to a point like let's say here, right? The 8-day moving average crossed over the orange one, or the orange line, which is the yellow line crossing over the orange line, means that the 8-day moving average crossed over the 21 moving average, and that would be an exit signal. That means it's going to go down, and as you can see, the price went down. It went down further and kept on going down, and then was beating around the bush for quite some time before it picked up. And as you can see, the 8-day crossing over the orange again here, and that's when the price started to pick up as well. right? So you can see. So those are your exit and entry points for that. The third indicator is the VWAP, and sometimes people use this in addition to the 8-day and 21. Now, basically, this is a bit more sensitive. It kind of gives you an exit position. So, for example, you got in here when the 8-day crossed over the 21. If you look very carefully, you can see it here, and it crossed over this blue line, which was the VWAP. You would be in for this whole period until you touched it here. So you would have got in here, waited all this time, and got out here. And sometimes some people just see, okay, it didn't break down below this, so they would hold on and keep holding it on and ride the entire wave. So that's the VWAP, the moving averages. And the fourth one we're going to be talking about is stochastic. Now, stochastic is very interesting because this purple line here, or this purple area is basically the unknown zone, right? Now, anything above this is the overbought, and here is the oversold. So let's take this for example. You would have come to a position like this. Now here, that's around about here. And you would have seen that it is an overbought position. So you would just basically sell here. And people would be selling throughout this whole period of time until they reach this position here, which is an oversold situation. And then they would get in and then they would ride it all the way back up again. So you could have got out here. As you can see, there's an overbought here, or you could have waited and you could have got out here as well, and there's another overbought, right? So that's how you can find your entry and exit points, and this is very easy, very simple for you to follow on a daily basis as well. Let's have a look at this. We'll remove a VWAP, right? So if I were to look here, I can see that it peaked here at the overbought. And I would just get out at this point in time and let it come all the way down. And as you can see, roughly around about this area would have been a good entry point. And as you can see, if you got in here at 45 for LTC, it would have just kept on going up, 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 up until you reached another overbought position, which is around about here. And you could have got out here. So this would have been a good entry and exit point for you to look at. So this is how simple it is. Now, of course, there are people who study the charts, and that's what you call technical analysis, and there are a lot of tools that are used for that. So let me see if I can show you an example using a technical analysis tool. So the one that for technical analysis, a lot of trend lines and trend-based movements as well. So let me take, for example, a trend line. Now, I would have said that, here is a point, and here is a point here. And that would show me that this is actually going in an uptrend. Now, as you can see, it touched the top of that trend, went down, went up, touched it again, just touched it, but didn't go through, came back, went up again, touched it, and just went down. But around about here, it not only just touched it, it went really high. So when that happens, that's a breakout. That's when you're breaking out of the trend line. And that's something which is interesting to do. So I'm going to delete that right now. And look at another one, which is basically your horizontal line, right? So wherever you press this, for example, I think that this is a horizontal line. So I'm just going to do that right now. And right clicking on this, you can click the format and you can type anything you want here. So I would say as a future message to myself, breaking out from this point is bullish, or whatever you want. And you can change the price, I would say at the 55 point, let's say 55 level, right? And that's it. So as you can see, I drew this line probably on that particular day, which was on the 7th of July. And I waited for quite some time and I noticed that it cracked over this level and it went up, and then I would pay attention to that. And it's maintained that level for quite some time. And now, as you can see, we're entering in November, December, it started to go all the way up. And in fact, it's gone up to 176. So how do you track this? So this is another way of using these lines. The other one, which is most interesting to me, is the Fibonacci. So let me just, where's that? Okay, here it is. A Fibonacci extension and retracement. Now, how it works is that we will work from a swing low. So this is used for swing trading. So we're going to look at the lowest point. We'll take the highest point that we saw, and then we'll go to the lowest point again, right? Now, when I drew that, as you can see, a couple of lines are drawn here, right? So I'm just going to format that for the time being, and these are the price points that I'm looking at. Now, as you can see, I've selected 0, which is where I started from, 50% or 0.5, 0.618, and there are a couple of others, as like, but there's the most important for me is the 1.272 and the 2.272 as well. So I'll choose the 168 as well here. Now you can use that as price, or you can use it as percentages as well, and you can see the change that's happening here. So I'm going to keep both of them there, right? And I've color coded them. The reason is because when you reach a 127 extension, there's a good probability of you reaching that. And as you can see in this chart, from this point we reached this point and we drew this chart to the next low. So it touched this, it went down, and then it's been moving around for quite some time. It almost touched the 100% level here again, but it didn't do anything. So it waited, went down a bit more, and then went up. So as you can see, the 127 is very important extension, and the 161.8 is also a very important extension, and it's met both of those extensions as well. So this is why I use the Fibonacci as well. It's something which is quite easy to draw and gives you an indication of the direction that you're going as well. So if you're using a Fibonacci, you can actually pretty much predict the price pattern and the direction of the prices, and that's basically how we use that to decide on whether to enter or whether to exit, or whether to just stay on the sidelines as well. Right. Another one similar to that is the retracement. So on the retracement, let me select this from here to here. And basically that means from this point to this point, this is the 50% retracement. So it's been bouncing along this area for quite some time before it recovered as well. So this gives me an indication of how much it's fallen as well. So let me just delete that. Okay, another important thing to note is that when you're using these indicators, you can star them and they will appear for you right at the top here. So these are the commonly used ones that I have. As you can see, the fib retracement and the extension. Now let's do that again. I'm going to take this as the swing low to swing high. And you can see these lines form right about here, right? And you can see where they're forming right now. Now, let's just remove that for the time being. And I'm going to do one from, let's say, this point. So I'll take the fib retracement again, or extensions again. Do it from this point to this point to this point. And you can see that. Now, if you want to hide them and just look at the graph as is, just click hide all drawing tools and you can see them disappear as well. So that's an interesting feature to have while you're looking at it from a simple naked view of the chart. Okay, another important feature that you need to learn on using TradingView is setting alerts. And I feel this is the most important because I don't like to stay glued to the screen all the time. So you can either press the indicator here, which is, it says create alerts, or Alt-A, and you'll get a screen like this. Now, there are a couple of options here when the price is going above a particular level, greater than a particular level, entering a channel, moving up by X percentage. This is a great way. So let's say we are going to track the price. Now, I want to see an indicator happen when the price is going to go down below 160. So what I would do is I could right click here, add alert at 160, which is a shortcut, right? And I'm just going to bring it down to 160. And I'm going to give crossing down, okay? And I can repeat this or I can keep it every time. So every time this triggers, it will get reset again and then go on for some time. And I want this to go on for quite some time, let's say till January 31st, right? So that's how long I believe it will continue. And there are a couple of ways to alert you. One is either through a pop-up, play a sound, send an email to SMS, or send an SMS. Now, these features are basically pro features, so you're going to have to pay for that. And you can leave a message inside here, LTC USD crossing below 60, time to get in. Okay, and an email will be sent for you on that point. And as you can see, a line has been formed here, and whenever that is there, you can see the alert that's going on there, and the alert pops up here as well on the right side. So this is the alert that I have. It says alert LTC USD crossing down 160, time to get in. So right now it's at 174. If it gets there, I would like to trigger the alert so that I can come back to my TradingView station or go into my exchange and basically place the orders for myself to get into that point. So this is the most essential features of TradingView that I think you should be very familiar with. Of course, here's the dateline features right below 1 day. How does it look like on a 1 day or 1 hour perspective, on a 3-month perspective, and that gives you a picture of everything there. Now, there are a couple of features like screener, adding notes, and if you know how to script, you can actually create your own indicators and also trade. So trading, what they're doing now is they're actually connecting TradingView to a lot of professional brokerages where you can actually connect to them and actually start trading from this particular screen. The other feature that I like and I use quite often is the ability to save a screenshot so that I know the price I've got in and the indicators that I'm giving. And if I want to share it with someone on Twitter or StockTwits, or I want to publish the idea, there are a couple of features here. On the right side, we have what we call the watch list. So we're going to create a watch list next with all our major indicators. And we have the alerts, which we just talked about, as well as data view and some of the hot lists and news and calendars and a whole lot of social features as well. So this is TradingView 101. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to help you out with that so that you can get yourself set up. I do recommend that you go for the TradingView Pro or Pro Plus version because it has a lot of features like having 2 screens together instead of just one, right? And if you want to save yourself some time, always remember to create a chart layout and save that so that you can refer back to it again. So I hope you found this useful, and I hope you get started immediately with TradingView. It's very important because you need to be setting your alerts so that you can get notified when the price drops and you don't need to be glued to your screen.